This is all a friendly discussion we're having to just try to better understand each other, and I hope you better understand what the city's position is right now after my talk. So, thank you very much, and I'll open it up to whoever wishes to speak. And if you do, I would just say, well, I don't know how good that microphone is. We'll do our best. I just want to make sure we capture everybody's comments. So, yes, sir.
What are the revenue does Parks and Rec raise like during last year? How much was their gross income on other revenue?
On other revenue, yeah, a good question. Aaron, do you have that off the top of your head?
Budget. But a lot of things we do is we're of course a nonprofit organization. So what we try to do is we don't make a whole lot like this year in baseball and soccer and things like that. We had our prices at $85 per kid. So what we done as a programs committee, we sit down and we was like, what's it going to cost us to field maintenance, employees, and compared to our sponsors and the entry fees. So we was able to come to a generalization that we could lower our prices for these kids, because you know we was up to $85. I was taking a lot of calls of I can't afford to play, and that's the last thing we want to do as a Parks and Rec is have kids that can't play. Since then, we've actually lowered our price to $55 per kid, and that was on the formula of what it was going to cost to run it with our sponsors and what we could lower our price to get kids to play. So basically, when we take in additional revenue, we try to keep it to a minimal just so we can keep the cost down for, say, a single mother of 4 that's got 4 kids playing. You know, up until this year, I believe it was $5 discount for siblings, and now we've lowered it to $15 per. Say the first kid's $55, second one's $40, the third one's $25, and we try to offset that with sponsors. We've been really lucky in the last 6 months of our donations coming in, and that's because we're kind of reaching out to the community and businesses. Our local businesses have been just phenomenal on helping us with Christmas at the Park, and then we got scholarships for kids that just don't have even the $55. So they can contact us. We can go through the school resource centers and try to get every kid involved that we can. So generally, we don't try to make profit. We just try to make it where our kids are involved in sports and programs. And not only that, our senior citizens. You know, we just done a Valentine's thing for our senior citizens. We did Thanksgiving dinner for our seniors, and so we basically just try to make enough to support what we got in place.
So Eric, there's two.
Total revenue was for
If you come to the Parks and Rec, we can give you our budget.
okay.
We don't mind at all. We usually keep it printed out.
We'll see if we can make a phone call out there and get that question answered before we leave, if you don't mind. So just to recap, very good question. I'm glad you asked that. So through revenue that would be for programs, so a parent coming in to pay so their kid can play, which one of our goals with raising this tax ultimately in Parks and Recreation is that we can lower the cost as low as possible for kids. Ultimately, we'd love them to play for free. I would love to be the county in Kentucky where no kid has to ever pay. But so those fees, rental of facilities, they can make some money off that. They make some money off of the concessions. When they have tournaments, they can rent out a field. So it would basically be through usage fees or participation fees. You know, you go to the pool, you pay a little bit to use the pool that day. So those are the percentage, we're gonna get you a number.
Yeah, I'm working on it now.
But that percentage is very small compared to the overall number that is collected for the restaurant tax.
What's the admission to attend like a baseball game or just a visitor to come in and watch a game?
Are you talking about our local games? Like,
Yes.
it's free.
How much?
It's free. You come in and watch the kids play.
Like baseball, pool would have a rental.
Yeah.
Or a pool would have
What
a,
about tournaments?
The tournaments we rent out to a tournament director, and they set the gate fees.
Okay, then who if there's a profit on that particular tournament, where does that money go to?
The people hosting the tournament. So great questions, thank you, because it helps with the discussion when we get good questions. So someone will pay, is it $2,500, Eric? What was the rental?
It's per field, I think
Okay.
it's some,
Based on the number of fields they're renting, so they have a weekend tournament.
days. Well, some tournaments are Saturday only, some days are Saturday and Sunday, and we rent it per day, per field.
So they would pay, if someone comes in and says, we like your park, you got a more awesome park than we do in our county, right? I want to host a tournament. So they're going to pay Parks and Rec some money to rent those fields. And then, of course, they've got to pay out of their pocket the trophies, the umpires, whatever. And then ultimately they're trying to, and then they pay for parking if you're coming for that event. If you're a visitor bringing a team in, I think they pay for parking. So ultimately they're trying to make a little money too. So it's a win-win for both sides. And all those people that are coming in are part of those large numbers of visitors who are spending money when they come in. Putting gas in their car, going to Walmart because they forgot a chair, stopping by a roof hunt to get some candy, eating at a restaurant, and then coming back out to the park, whatever that is. If we're lucky, they come and stay at our hotels if they're far enough away, and we can make a little money off that too.
And I will tell you, in addition to that, before I become a board member, I've been involved in Parks and Rec. Well, I was raised in Parks and Rec. My dad was a programs director for many years, so I remember when it was Cribble and Carpenter, and the maintenance crew was me and my brother working on it. So I've been around Parks and Rec all my life, and before I become a board member, my question was, why wasn't Parks and Rec hosting these tournaments and making all the profit? But what I've learned since I've been on the board, and also as a travel parent, is there's certain tournament directors that these teams will play for, that they've been playing for year after year after year. They've built their relationships with these teams. So they're going to go play where, say, Don Wilburn or Cheney, wherever they're playing, wherever fields they're going to, that's where our teams are going to. I've got two kids that are playing travel ball, and we look to see where these certain tournament hosts, because we feel like they're the fairest, they have the best umpires, and that's where we go play. So I've learned a lot in the 2 years less than 2 years I've been on the board, is why we're not hosting the tournaments. We get the rental fee, we get the concession fees, but if we decide to host these tournaments and no teams show up, or half the teams show up, then we're cutting into the tourism for the people coming in and spending money in the hotels, the restaurants, and our concessions.
So, and thank you, great question to just lead to some discussion. And I'll lastly say, this is becoming a competitive endeavor for cities and counties across the state. They are investing heavily in their parks because they know people will come use those parks, especially on these tournaments, and they can generate great revenue for their community, so that money is just cycling through. And then so that does lead to a discussion about the future and goals that Parks and Rec has, and ultimately, wouldn't we love an indoor facility in this community? Especially the last couple of weeks where nobody had a place to go. When the schools are closed, you can't go use them. But it would be nice if we had an indoor facility for our citizens to be able to go use, but then also to have tournaments and bring people in to kind of generate some revenue there. So investments in your Parks and Rec are awesome. Ultimately, they're for your citizens. But also, if others see the benefit of your parks, then they're going to help bring people with them to help bring more revenue into your community. So it's all part of just kind of a magical puzzle that everything fits together nicely and everybody's mutually supporting everyone. Yes, Rob.
Hi, I'm Robin. I'm sure Greg has a lot of points, but I have a few points.
Mm-hmm.
One is we're not getting any information of how that 5.2 million is being used. Now, you're saying possibly, and I think I've seen it in the paper, a new facility. However, I think we need to work on the facilities that we already have in town. Now, when I go walk the park at Easy Walk on the trails are busted, and I have to make sure I use the bathroom before I even go, because the bathrooms are locked. And I don't want it to become the Dollar General of our town, where new Dollar Generals are being built, but what about the old ones that are sitting around getting ruined? People are selling drugs in their parking lot, nobody's taking care of all those old Dollar Generals, but new Dollar Generals are popping up. Why would we even talk about a new facility when we have to take care of the facilities we currently have?
I agree
And
with
you can't even, God forbid, I need to take a child to the bathroom and have to dangle them over a porta potty because I can't even use the bathroom because they're locked and the facilities are falling apart.
Yeah.
Why would we even talk about a new facility?
The question I
Wait, hold on, I'd like to know how that 5.2 million is being earmarked.
Yeah, great question. So this is what has been presented to the city and county governments. I'm glad you kind of mentioned some of those things, Robin. New asphalt on Easy Walker Park and Botts Park for walking trails, estimated cost $550,000. Renovating tennis courts, $450,000. Dog park replacement, the fences are falling down, $20,000 to make the improvements there. New restrooms at Easy Walker Park for better access to tennis court, softball, playground, estimated cost $225,000. One restroom facility, inclusive playground at Easy Walker Park, $100,000. Add one restroom facility to the mound, estimated cost $100,000. All-inclusive playground installed at the mound, estimated cost $200,000. You gotta clean out the pond, dredge the pond at Easy Walker Park, that's $40,000. New benches, picnic tables, grills, trash cans at all the parks, estimated cost $50,000. Update baseball and soccer concessions, estimated cost $100,000. Parking lot reconstruction, you all know parking lots out there. There's some drainage issues, the rocks kind of get all over the place. They need some repaving, some curbing, estimated cost $450,000. Resurfacing basketball, pickleball courts at the mound, $50,000. Air conditioning units at the Aquatic Center concession stand replaced, $18,000. Paint and fix drywall and pull concessions due to air conditioning leaking, $3,500. Splash pad for Botts Park, that's a want, not a need, but estimated cost $325,000. 2 scoreboards at Easy Walker Park that need to be replaced, $25,000. That's about half of it. The other half would be if we were gonna upgrade our 5 baseball fields to look at putting in new drainage, fencing, and turf in some areas, that would be a $2.5 million.
Well, I would say, as a citizen, we shouldn't even be talking about a new facility. And you're also not accounting for the fact that restaurants sponsor these fields and send in a check. And like he said, you're not talking about all the revenue you're already receiving or grants that are missed or not gotten because somebody didn't do their due diligence. That there's a lot of revenue streams besides taxing our citizens that you can be gathering, getting, or who's auditing, who's making sure the restaurants in town. I mean, don't get me started on the zoning, because Dairy Queen's zoned in, Irish Hills is zoned in, but the bowling alley's not zoned in. Don't get started on the zoning, but who's auditing to make sure that coffee house, or we shouldn't say it's a restaurant tax, it's a prepared food tax. You go into Walmart and you get your child popcorn chicken, you're paying that tax. All the vendors at court days should be sending in thousands of dollars of tax that they're generating. Who's auditing and making sure, especially in cash businesses. You go to a gas station, you get a hot dog, you're paying that tax. You're not understanding. And I know I'm not collecting this money, I'm collecting it for you. But you don't see the customers every day who complain about, all they see is raised prices. That is all of my customers.
Completely understand, yes. I get your point of view as a restaurant owner.
We get the complaints that you do not.
Yeah.
So I think telling our customers, hey, the Parks wants $5.2 million, well, what's that for? Most of this tax, my understanding, should be going to tourism, not, I mean, I understand Parks is an overview, but is somebody from the restaurant business on the Parks and Rec board to see where that money is being utilized?
The restaurant appointee is to tourism.
Okay. But 94% of the money goes to Parks and
It
Rec.
does, yes,
And
because we have a lot of parks that we need to maintain, so. But so you mentioned several different things there, Robin, I'm probably gonna miss something, but.
I have a lot of points.
I can't remember.
Opposed.
That's fine, and that's fine. I respect where you're coming from as restaurant owners. That's perfectly fine, and we want to hear your feedback. And I get that the consumer takes it out on you. We've had those discussions as a council. You're the one that has to hear the feedback. And
Yes.
I would want you to say, go down there and talk to that mayor, or talk to that city council, and let us help. We have not educated the public well on this. So, Jeanette, how many people are paying your restaurant tax, just off the top of your head? 50?
53, 55.
53, so there are a lot. I know you have concerns that not everybody's paying. Believe me, she's a bulldog. If she senses somebody is not paying, she's out paying them a visit. And if need be, taking a police officer with her to say, you have to pay the restaurant tax per this ordinance. So,
Yes, I am.
Okay.
yeah,
Because I think
she's on top of it.
So that answers your question. They're
Yeah.
doing an audit.
They're paying, they're doing an audit, absolutely. And Robin, I'm sorry, and Greg, I want to get to your point. I just want to make sure I can try to answer Robin's points the best I can. And I can't remember when you walked in, but that bowling alley's outside the city limits, and we just can't do anything. And I wish the county could institute a tax on them, but they
No, I'm not
just
saying,
can't.
I was,
So-
what I'm saying is the zoning, they created zoning for their own interests to get the alcohol sales at Irish Hills, and they skipped over everybody, hit Dairy Queen, hit Irish Hills. But the community center, or the bowling alley, or whoever, it's just.
They didn't request to come in the city,
Boggles my
Robin.
mind.
That's their decision. They did not request to come in the city. It's not the city's decision. We can certainly go try to force someone to come in the city, but we're not going to. They did not request to come in the city, therefore they can't sell alcohol there. They made their choice, and that's fine. They don't want to be in the city.
I guess my point is, as a citizen, it's mind-boggling to me, the zoning is strange.
Can I make a comment real quick? Years and years ago, when that happened, there was, the city was allowed to spot annex, and now you're not allowed to spot annex, it has to be contiguous. So that was years and years ago.
But they never requested to come into the city. If somebody wants to request to come, they can.
New law, we retro that.
And yeah, like the cities.
I'm being serious.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. They're selling, you know, and I've talked to a lot of people, and what I'm told, and I don't know if I can find anything in writing, but, you know, it was zoned, and even Brad Toy would say, actually, my driveway to my business at the golf courses, that's the zone right there. It doesn't make sense. And so if there's a new law that's going for that, and keeping it continual, maybe we can fix that, or at least go back and redo and rezone appropriately according to the new, is that statute? Or law?
Well, we don't certainly get off track, and I'm happy to sit down with you after and talk about how annexation works now versus how it used to
I
work.
think that's changed.
But generally, the city has only annexed in new developments because those new developments are asking for our water. So that's generally why decisions have been made to bring people into the city. Or they want to be in the city because they want to sell alcohol. So that's kind of why people choose to come into the city. So your whole block out there was a brand new development, and all of it came in at once because it was a new development. And I wasn't mayor then, I don't think Roger Barnes may have been around when that happened, but
It's not
yeah.
true. It was annexed, we were annexed way after it was brought in. After my building was established in there for several years.
Yeah.
And I can't give you the amount, maybe 5 would be my guess. Because when I moved to this community, I remember, you know, the zoning, and it made sense to me, and I opposed it. And so that's been there a while, so that's not an accurate statement.
yeah. But what's not an accurate statement?
As far as it was zoned originally, when it was.
The entire subdivision was zoned after the fact. They did it so they could sell alcohol at that gas station there, and they forcefully annexed all of us in the
Yes.
city. I don't want property there.
And that was before your time.
It was against our will. We did not want it.
Yes.
Well,
That's why I like.
I'll just say this.
People have to rezone my area.
you can make your arguments of whether you like being in the city or not, but I will just say this. The benefits you get from your city services are quite amazing. The city is paying everybody's fire tax. That's about 65% of what we collect in property taxes pays your fire bill. So we really, when you remove that, we don't really have that much, but you're still getting police services, you're still getting public works, you're still getting all those other niceties that come with
You're
it.
actually getting a lot with 2%. See, for example, in.
Well, 2% is just restaurant.
Okay,
So, yeah.
so let me say this. In 5 years ago, my check average, and I can only reference Derek and sorry, that's because that's all I know, but I can give you facts. My check average was $10.04, 5 years ago, 4 to 5, I don't remember. Now it's pushing $12.79. That's $2-3 more per transaction that the city is getting that 2% of, and that increase is just a lot of money just in the last 4 years. So, and that's no money going to the restaurants on the bottom line. That's all increase, just like the franchisee, my franchisor is making a killing because I pay higher wages and I pay higher food costs. Restaurants cannot, so as a restaurant owner, you can't raise prices too much because when you raise prices, your transactions come down. So my first point is Park and Rec has been getting a lot more money since COVID because of the increases. My other point is the restaurants are making less money because for the transactions that I have, the more I raise prices, the less I have. Derek and I attended a convention last month, and for the last 7 years, the transactions have gone like this. Nationally, for every restaurant chain, that's just big restaurant chain information that I have. And the profits in each restaurant, like for example for mine, because of the cost of food going up every year and not coming down, I'm taking a 2% loss out of my pocket. I have 2 shareholders that are not happy about it, but I have to make that decision that I can raise prices to match my increases. And I'm blessed because we have a great location, we have a great community, we have a great following, but that's impactful. And that's just something.
I would love to share the numbers of your restaurant. If you ever want to sit down privately and show you the benefit that you get from out-of-town visitors to your
Oh,
restaurant.
trust me, I've
But
already had you and 4 board members, well, we've had a nice conversation, but I've had 4 board members tell me how much I benefit from, the Park and Rec. And me as a business owner, I know that. And they've told me, Greg, because I was on the board, as you know, I got pushed out, in my opinion. But I walked away. And Eric, you're laughing. Why are you laughing?
Just forced out. I understand your frustration.
You don't think I was forced out?
The board bullied Greg off the board.
I was a bully, big
He was
time,
bullied off.
Eric, and you know that. And if you just sit there and laugh about it,
I was just bullying
let's
you,
take out the board.
yeah, let's
That's
stick to that.
another thing. It's really been impactful for the restaurants, and my point is that there's a really big loss
Yeah.
going on for
And
them.
that's very good points.
It's more hurtful for the smaller mom and pops.
Yeah, absolutely. I get where you come from, Greg, and I've told you, I respect you. You can be against this all you want, because I understand you're a restaurant owner, and I understand that you have
And
different
when they tell me
challenges.
that I benefited, I've given, I just looked last year, I told you yesterday, I've given $30,000 last year alone back to my community.
Yeah, that's great. We applaud you for that.
I don't want credit for that.
Well, we wish we had more like you, Greg.
But that is something that everybody in our town does in the restaurant industry. We are hit up so much by the nonprofits, by the sports teams, from the schools. We are taking a beating, and it breaks my heart having to say no. I used to not have to say no.
Yeah.
Again, I have to say no. So there's a lot that needs to be discussed, about the restaurants, especially Robin's point is I would like to see how much money Park and Rec is generating from Kroger and from these other sales of the food.
Well-
It's not a restaurant tax, Al, it's a food tax.
I get, but I get that, but you understand why I can't give your data to the Arnolds over here. That wouldn't be, if you want to give it to them, you can, but I can't share corporate data, Greg. I can't tell you what
Can you give
another
a percent
restaurant.
of how much, a percentage of how much is going through?
There's smart people in this room that could take that percentage and figure it out. And I would not give your data out, Greg.
How much, there's smart people, because it's public, that takes my income and can calculate how much money that I've already.
They can, but I'm not giving it to them.
Well, they can do it.
Well, okay, but my point is, I can't give you
It's a percent.
Kroger's info because I can't release anybody's private info. I wouldn't release yours, Greg.
But I think
Now-
the point we're trying to make is it's not a restaurant tax, it's a prepared food tax. So,
We covered all that
yeah.
at the beginning,
And
yes.
I think, keep saying the word restaurant tax is.
Because restaurant's just a slang term, Robin. It's just because that's what everybody
You
understands.
might not be realizing that when they go and get a steak at Court Days, and they're just paying $10, that 8% of that should be going to the state of Kentucky, or the city, or whatever, 2% goes. You know, the community, we're speaking on behalf of the community, and they might not be realizing that some young families who are buying their child popcorn chicken at Walmart is paying this.
Yeah.
That you're paying it more than just not eating out. Like,
Well-
I choose to eat out and I don't choose to eat out. Your child is, oh, can I get some chicken, or can I go here and the parks, can I go get a sandwich at the parks or whatever? You're paying that. You just might not realize it, that you are paying that.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why,
It's hitting the vulnerable, the disability, people on fixed incomes, veterans, families. Parents already have to have 2-income households. And we just want to raise more taxes on our community?
I can tell you first knowledge that, you know, people, when I raise prices 10 cents, I have senior citizens noticing it, I have the kids noticing it from high school, saying, and we're just talking 10 cents, it's hitting them, and all of this adds up over time. We have, like yourself, veterans that are on fixed income, and they're really pressured for the monies, and so our compassion lies in, we have an advantage of, I guess, knowing how taxes and the price of food impacts our community in a very, very negative way. And I feel like, just like I do, I try to help out the community, I feel like I'm supposed to say something on behalf of my community. I don't really care about my profits in my store and how things are and how it impacts me. I'm blessed beyond anything I've ever dreamed, and you all know that. I feel like, just like when I help out other nonprofits in the community, that I really need to speak up. And I don't know if our government realizes how hard things are for people nowadays. I have kids living and sharing rooms and living in cars constantly, especially these last 3-4 years that I've never seen. So we're only talking pennies and cents, and I get it. And I know it'd be nice to have an indoor theater, or indoor facility. I want it just as much as you do. I want it just as much as Eric does. But I was on the Park and Rec Board, and I had to talk as a citizen, and I gotta say that it wasn't being ran well, it wasn't being run properly, and my biggest, I was so outspoken over the years because I was so frustrated because everything I've tried to do and change, because I'm a businessman, and I tell you, I don't have a business degree, but I can go run any business, and Eric was shaking his head, thank you, that it wasn't being ran well. Now we have a new director in there, things have changed, it's totally flipped my thought process and where I'm going to go in the future with this. But we're not there yet. We have $2 million, Al, in things that we need to fix and repair before we go out and say, let's build another, an indoor stadium. And that's the point I think I'm trying to say, not so well, from the community is, why now? Is it because we've done such a bad job as director